Hello everybody, welcome back to The Vibe. Today joining us we have Reptahr.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
Cody, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure, man. So are you a big Rugrats fan?
I am a super huge Rugrats fan. It was part of my childhood for a really long time. Pretty much since I can remember I had been watching Rugrats. And it just kind of took hold on me.
Right on. So how did that name come about? Was it because you are a Rugrats fan, or go into depth about that?
It started out, I was just kind of a Rugrats fan, and my first tattoo ever was of Reptahr. I had started out as a different name. I had rebranded myself as Reptahr. I was playing in the basement with a couple of my friends, and I had been contemplating making my name Reptahr for a while. I can't remember the girl's name, but she comes running up to me while I'm playing. She goes, "Your name should be Reptahr." And I was like, what made you say that? I was like, is it because I have a Reptahr tattoo on my arm? And she goes, "No way! You have a Reptahr tattoo on your arm?" I had no idea. And I was like, come on, you've seen the tattoo, now you're just messing with me. She's like, "No, I swear to God." And I was like, well, I guess that should probably be my name at this point.
Yeah,
if I'm contemplating and some person just randomly told me I should be Reptahr, then I decided I should just be Reptahr.
That was the universe telling you, hey, that's a good idea, you should brand yourself as this, because
Yep.
you're thinking about it, and that's crazy how the universe works like that. And so here you are. So what was your first moniker? What did you go as?
I used to go by Alcatraz, and I had been Alcatraz for quite a while. And then after quite some time, I kind of felt like I was in it for all the wrong reasons, and I didn't feel like I really deserved to have my position that I did as who I was. And so I backed out for about 2 years, and I came back and rebranded myself, and it's been a crazy journey ever since.
Yeah, right on. So how long have you been DJing?
For about 10 years now. I started right around the time I was 17, 18. And I first started out doing electronic on the computer, using your USB and everything like that. And I wanted to give my shot at using vinyls, so I kind of really started out using vinyls. Kind of progressed from there, and I decided that I wanted to stick with digital and went back to digital, and it's just been pretty cool.
Yeah. So when you were doing vinyl, were you doing EDM tunes, or were you doing like hip-hop?
More techno house style, dance, stuff like that.
Okay, right on. And so you changed your name to Reptahr, and what's kind of the genre that you've been going with?
More wonky dubstep. I like heavier stuff as well. I like the wonky dubstep. Rusco kind of got me on all of that.
Yeah, right on. That's kind of like the OG
Yep.
dubstep, right? The UKF sound.
Woo Boost was
Yes.
the track that got me into wonky dubstep.
Right on. Classic. That's
Yep.
a classic. So yeah, what was your first experience like with EDM? Was it Rusco and hearing those types of tracks?
My friends were just kind of playing, dubstep around me and stuff like that, and I wasn't too sure how I felt about it. When I had first started, I was messing around with producing with like Acid Studios on my laptop, and I was making more trancey stuff. And then once I started hearing more dubstep, then I got into that. And when I first started listening to EDM, I was listening to Dr. P, Panty Raid. I had been listening to a little bit of Tiesto, not a lot, but Tiesto was like in the beginning there for me. And then once I heard of Rusco, I just fully immersed myself.
That I remember listening to Rusco too back in the day, and I feel like that was kind of the intro, especially around that time, around the 2010, 2011 was when it was starting to get pretty big, and those guys were kind of like the OGs in terms of the dubstep, and kind of more like a European sound, and it's definitely evolved over the years. Yeah, I'd definitely consider Rusco one of the OGs, and someone who I personally was listening to back then. That's kind of how I got into dubstep. Where did you play your first show at?
I started out playing a lot of basements and a lot of like warehouse parties. My first real show, I would have to say, was the Orbit Room. Me and my buddy, Brad Osbin, Twisted Dubs, we were throwing house parties at our house all the time, and we decided to take it to a venue, and we got the opportunity to do our shows at the Orbit Room for a while. My first venue was the Orbit Room.
That was a great venue, and unfortunately it's no longer in existence, right?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it was a great venue,
Yeah.
All great things come to an end sometimes,
Right.
but hopefully one day it'll come back.
Yeah, bounce
Maybe
back.
not the Orbit Room, but the venue in general.
Yeah, it's kind of had a similar vibe to like 20 Monroe. It didn't have like an upper balcony too.
Yep.
It was kind of small, pretty similar in size, I think, to the Intersection.
Yeah.
But classic venue, and one that definitely threw a lot of great shows, not just EDM related, but other genre as well. So that's a pretty cool spot to be booked, is the Orbit Room. I bet that was a really cool experience. Was it an EDM show that you were opening up for? Was there a headliner, or was it just you and Brad?
I honestly can't remember who was headlining the first show I played. It was more of like a local showcase.
Okay, gotcha.
But then now it's progressing to something a little bit bigger from that point.
Mm-hmm.
We've had more bigger names come out and everything. I haven't had my hands in it so much since then, and really not even so much at that point. Once it moved out of the basement, Brad kind of took it over, which is completely cool because it was his basement, you know.
Yeah.
And it's been his baby. I'm just glad I got to be a part of that. But yeah, we it was mostly just a local showcase.
Okay, right on. What do you remember much about that night, or was it kind of just all a blur? Like you were just so mixed with emotions and stuff. Do you really remember it, or not?
I honestly don't remember a lot. I remember that we had quite a few people at that show. I can't remember who I played with there, but it was a really cool experience. I do remember that, like being able to play like in a venue and not just in a basement. You know, it is quite the experience.
Yeah, it felt more legit, and like this is kind of what it's all about. Kind of give you that little taste, right on, for sure. So 2019 was a big year for you. From what I understand, you've had countless shows across Grand Rapids, whether it be bars and certain venues like that, with kind of the pinnacle being at Lost Lands Music Festival. So go ahead and touch on how you got to play at that, what some call dubstep Disneyland. How did that experience come about for you?
So like you were saying, you know, I've been playing shows kind of all around the Michigan scene and everything like that, and it gave me the opportunity to start working for Electric Forest and like getting to know everyone there. And when I went to work at Lost Lands, that whole crew came down. So many of the people that I worked with honestly absolutely loved listening to me play, because we would set up at our camp and everything like that, and they loved hearing me play, and they were like, any chance I can, and all my friends were like, any chance that we can get, we're gonna get you shows. And we get to Lost Lands. My buddy Kai comes up to me and he says, hey man, we got some open spots at the Wookiee Woods stage, and I put your name down. I would really love to see you play there. It was like, yeah, I really want to play it, and I was trying not to get my hopes up too much just in case it didn't happen.
Right.
And I wasn't sure I was going to be playing Lost Lands until hours before I was supposed to play. I got a message from my buddy back here in town with the flyer that Lost Lands had posted on their Facebook with my name on it, and I didn't even know.
Oh wow!
And they gave me my props and everything. They're like, that's amazing. I was like, I didn't even know. So I get all my stuff together, figure out what time I got to be there, and I thought I was going to be at the Red Bull MXT that they had, and it ended up being on the Wookiee Wood stage, full production stage with a full LED wall, and first time ever playing on a stage like that with the crowd that I played to. It was amazing.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So yeah, I can only imagine, you know, what you were experiencing that day. First you find out that you're playing, then you find out you're at the wrong stage, and you gotta book it to where you're supposed to be, right? And somehow channel all of that emotion and go up there and do what you do. I can only imagine the nerves and all that. Like, what was that experience like? Just finally getting there, getting set up, and being like, all right, let's do this.
It was super stressful throughout the day because I found out midday that I was actually playing, and then towards the end of my work shift, which was around like 7 o'clock at night, is when I actually like really got like figuring out what I was doing and like really playing it. So it was super stressful. I had a lot of anxiety. I run back to my RV, change my clothes, get dressed, grab all my stuff, and I ran out, started headed to the wrong place, figured out it was at the Wookiee Woods, and I get there and emotions are high. I'm feeling super anxious and nervous, and everyone's just telling me, Cody, you always play amazing. You do it just with a great fashion every time. Just go up there and crush it. I get up on stage, and I kind of started out, I was like not moving very much, really quiet. The music was loud, but I was like just kind of, you know, almost froze.
Right.
And people start showing up. It was like 15 minutes into Excision set at the main stage. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't expect that many people. I had quite the crowd, at least like half the Wookie Woods area, if not a little more full. And all my friends were there, and they're all just cheering me on, and I crushed it. Even like the stage manager and everything and the visual people were giving me props. Like,
hell yeah,
it was super cool. And I walk off stage and look at all my like walk off, and like I'm looking at all my friends just standing there like waiting to hug me, and I just started crying. It was
man.
It was the coolest thing ever. First time I ever experienced something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, to play during Excision Set, that's his festival, and to actually have a crowd, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then to go out there and crush it, like you said, again, just another layer. Like, that's really fucking cool, man. I'm super glad that you got to have that experience, because that's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
it could be, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully not for you.
Hopefully not. I'm hoping to be back this next year.
Mm-hmm.
It was an experience for sure. That's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, we keep reiterating this each episode. It's really all about who you know.
Yep.
You know, making those connections, right? And for you, it was, you know, working for music festivals and having the opportunity to play during chill time at a campsite, and then having people like, this guy can really fucking throw down, and then the word spreads, right? And that's how it happens. Like, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, right? In order to have an experience like you had, but it's worth it.
It is worth it. It's hard for me to do because I got social anxiety. It's hard for me to go out and like actually just talk to people. But once I'm out, can't shut me up.
Yeah. Right.
So you know, it's just constant like networking, making friends, making those connections and everything like that. It really is all about who you know.
Yeah. You had some. Obviously, Lost Lands is kind of at the top. You also had another big show recently. January 11th was your birthday show that you were able to play. Man,
so my birthday was absolutely amazing. Shout out to all my friends who came out. People like Ronan, Twisted Dubs, Young Hung came out, Dean Martian, S'mores, all those guys came out to play on my birthday. And the weather was super bad that day. It wasn't the best. It wasn't completely awful. It had its moments. But that was the day of like that stupid ice storm that was supposed to come in, and we all had our fingers crossed for a good turnout. But man, I couldn't have asked for a better birthday show. All the people that came out, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was really cool. One of my best birthdays in years, absolutely. And I couldn't have done it without all my friends.
Right on. That sounds like a stack lineup of local DJs. That's pretty impressive. And like you said, for people to actually show up during, you know. It's kind of like the theme for you now that I think about it. You're playing during Excision Set at Lost Lands. You got this ice storm to battle, you know, on your birthday, but people still show up, you know. Yep. Obviously, you have the reputation to carry that. If you say it's going to be a big deal and it's going to be worth their while, you deliver. So that's awesome.
I forgot a couple people were actually there. I had a couple surprise artists as well.
Okay.
DJ Pink came out, Tyler Knighton also came out, and Sammy Polaroid. They all came out and played as well. They ended up jumping in on different people's sets and everything, and it was super cool.
Right on. That's awesome. And again, we touched on this, I feel like every episode, but it's such a inclusive group. There's not a whole lot of egos going on. It's like, fuck yeah, come up here and DJ with me. Like, why the fuck not? If you're here, why the fuck not?
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, you gotta bring your homies up with you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. So let's go ahead and give a shot of Reptahr's arm, because this guy's tatted up and he's got some dope fucking tats. This is his right arm, and that's the Reptahr. And it just started out as an outline, correct?
Yep, it was just the outline. I had the outline since I was 18 up until I was like almost 20, and then it got colored in. It's Reptahr eating the Mario poison mushroom, destroying Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then these are like flames in the sky, and then it's going to go into the night sky and have like UFO up top, so it's like him destroying the whole city up into outer space. It was my first tattoo when I turned 18. And it's been a process ever since.
Yeah, but it's looking fucking awesome, dude. That is great work. Do you want to shout out the artist who's been doing this? Has it been a couple?
There's been a couple different artists.
Okay.
One of the artists are no longer with us, but a couple different artists that have worked on it. So the one that isn't with us is Andrea Stroud Pito. She colored the Reptahr. Billy. I can't remember his last name to save my life because it was so long ago.
Yeah,
he did the outline. Stephanie Lane did a lot of like touch up and fixing work throughout the city.
Okay.
And then Jesse Erickson at Forever Ink Tattoos has came in, done even more shading throughout the whole city,
Okay.
and is doing all of the color work throughout my whole arm.
Okay, right on. Well, mad props to those tattoo artists because they did an incredible job.
Thank you.
That looks awesome. You've got some more ink on your bicep as well. Go ahead and touch on that because I think this is a cool story.
So this one, my best friend, who I've been friends with my whole entire life, Russ Hankus. I've known him since I was a few months old. And back in the day, we used to play The Sims, and we created a family on The Sims with his last name and my last name put together, which my last name is Hickox, his last name is Hankus, and it came out to be Hancox, and we both love Adventure Time, so we ended up, let's get a matching tattoo.
Right on.
And this is what it turned out to be, the Adventure Time sword with our last names put together through it.
That's so sick. That is so sick. And then we'll move over to the other arm, which has just kind of been...
Just a lot of random stuff.
You want to just touch on a few of those?
Well, actually, I'll give you a good story about one that actually means something to me on this arm / hand. The one on my hand says, "Only the good die young," and I used to be in like metalcore bands and stuff like that. I was a vocalist. And my buddy Cody, who he passed away at 18, he went into diabetic shock and passed away. But before he passed away, him and I were just in a band together, just me and him. So us both being Cody, decided to name ourselves C Squared. So it says C, there's a square in the background, and there's a D, and it says "Only the good die young." And I got that one for him. That one means a lot to me. And then some of my random ones are like, I have a skull with boobs for eyes. I got a Sour Patch Kid that got bit in half. A fat unicorn. Let's see, I got a little...
Is that a Jigglypuff back there? Is that what's up?
Oh, there is a Togepi.
Togepi, okay.
Grumpy Cat.
Grumpy Cat, that's what that is.
And then I guess the tattoo that probably means the most to me right now out of all of them is on this arm. It's my grandpa. He helped raise me from the day I was, pretty much from the day I was born. He'd been like really close to me, and he passed away in the last year. And I've had this since I was 19 years old. So I got it before he passed away, and it was his favorite tattoo of mine, of course. Yeah. Anywhere I'd go, he'd show it off like, look, who is that? You know, I'll tell his friends, and they'd be like, holy shit, that's you, man. Why'd you get his ugly mug on you? So, it's always been like a really cool tattoo to have, and it means even more to me now. He passed away, and he's always been one of my biggest support, always telling me to go for what I feel like matters most to me, and he was always there to help me back me up.
Right on.
So I got that one for him. It's probably the most meaningful one that I got on this arm.
Right on.
Any other tattoos on this arm you might want to have me talk about over here? I got some wild ones.
Go ahead, go for it.
For all the people that do know me, know that I have a lot of stupid tattoos. A lot of stupid ones. And if you really know the stupid tattoos that I have a lot of penises tattooed on me because I think it's hilarious, and they're not all out in the open. So I got one on my leg, one on my side, and one on my arm. This one right here is the body of a dragon. Like his tail starts there, and then here's his whole body. He's got like his hands coming off, but he has the head of a penis. So it's a dick dragon. I got a random mermaid here. I got this one, which is a monkey with an eye patch, and underneath it says Dakota. A lot of people don't know Cody's short for Dakota, but everyone just knows me as Cody, so my name is Dakota.
Oh, wow.
So I got that one because ever since I was a little kid, my family's nickname for me has been Monkey.
Okay.
So I got that with my name underneath it, and everyone's like, who is that? I'm like, don't worry about it.
We don't talk about it.
Right. You don't need to know. If you don't know, you don't know.
Right, exactly. Well, now everyone's going to know.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me none.
Right on.
I kind of brought up, I have a few dicks tattooed on me. I'll just kind of talk about this one. I was a piercer for about 8 to 10 years, on and off through a tattoo shop. And I wanted to know what it was like to tattoo, so I wanted to tattoo myself. They told me I had to pick something really dumb and stupid, thought about the movie super bad, and ended up with a bat dick on my leg. And that one's probably one of the most ridiculous ones that I do have.
And that looks pretty good for doing it yourself. I mean,
my first tattoo ever, and the only one I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
No, not at all.
It's not the best.
When you say bat dick, like, that's exactly what I see. So
right. Batman as a penis.
Right.
Don't know why I decided to do that on my leg where everyone can see it. Even when I can wear pants, cover it up, but if I wear shorts in the summer,
yeah,
it's everyone asks.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a conversation starter at best. So that's awesome. A lot of great ink. Now let's kind of get back into DJing. So you've been heavily mixing, not as much producing lately, but what are some of your favorite tracks to throw in? What's kind of your favorite maybe artist that you have going on right now in your sets?
My favorite artist lately, man, it's just been kind of all over. I like to play a lot of Dirt Monkey.
Okay.
Subdocta, Rusko, some Subtronics, Zed's Dead. I always end up throwing one of my homies from Detroit in, Mushroom Cloud.
Okay.
Usually spin some of his stuff. Space Jesus.
So yeah, that all sounds wonky to me.
Yeah, I like the wonky stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah. You've had a couple mixtapes that you put together. What's kind of your process in terms of creating a mixtape or a mix? How do you start? How do you kind of tweak it?
Me as DJ, a lot of people, they like to take the well thought out approach when it comes to like playing shows or putting mixes together. A lot of people like to kind of like at least put like a playlist together. Mm-hmm. I usually just wing it.
Really?
Every time, whether it's a show, a mix, I just kind of wing it. When it comes to mixes, I'm really, really picky with how it sounds. So if I mess up, I go back and start all over. My last mix that I put out, which I need to put out a new one. It's been about a year. Because I've just been super busy in the last year. I haven't really had the time to sit down. I mean, I have no excuse for not putting out a new mix. It just hasn't been on my mind. I've been playing shows and traveling and stuff like that, and I need to put out a new one. But my last one was the Pinky and the Brain mix. No, that was the Wubrats Volume 1, which was about a year ago, and that one got pretty wonky. I just kind of start out with something that I think might be a good like slow intro into it, builds up, and then throughout my mix I'll bring it up for a bunch of tracks and just continuously just go hard for a little bit, and then I'll bring it way back down, progress like slowly, and then build back up pretty quick throughout my mixes. And like I said, if I just don't like one little part, I'm starting from the beginning, and then like I'll pay attention to which tracks I have been playing, so I try to still keep them in that order, but I'll just restart and like pick different points in the songs to mix the other ones into,
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just kind of like I just kind of wing it.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, whatever.
I wing it with you, right? I wing it, but I'm picky.
Yeah, I get that, and so that's probably another reason why you haven't produced as many, because you kind of want it to be perfect before you actually publish it. So I definitely can respect that.
Yeah.
I can also respect you taking it from up here to down here to back up here, because you can't just be banger after banger. You know what I mean? Like that just
people get tired.
They do, right? Yeah. And I can kind of be critical of some excision sets sometimes where it's just like fucking banger after banger. It's like
It's like, let me take a break.
Right, exactly. I got a fucking cape in my neck right now. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, very very cool, and definitely be on the lookout for mixtape. Now we're putting you on it. Get it done, because we want to hear it.
I have one coming out soon, because my Facebook page is about to break 1,000 followers.
Nice.
So I'm putting one out for when I hit that 1,000 followers.
Oh yeah. And we'll do our best to help promote you, so hopefully we can get you there quicker.
I super appreciate it. I'm super close, so it'll be within a couple weeks.
Right on. Hell yeah. You talked about rebranding yourself. How hard of a decision was that, because you already had a following, to be like, I'm going to take a new direction?
At first, when I first originally had the thought of rebranding myself, it was a little bit difficult, because music has always been something that I've loved, and I didn't want to take a break from it, but I knew I needed to. So it wasn't super hard to make the decision to rebrand myself. I just knew I needed to take time to myself.
You want to elaborate why that was, or is that kind of personal?
No, not at all. I just felt like I was in it for all the wrong reasons. I felt like I was in it more for the attention and like fame or whatever. I just wanted people to know who I was. And that's not what music is about. It's not about a popularity contest. It's about the people. It really is. Because not only does music make me feel good, but it should make other people feel good too. So I think about it that way now, since I've rebranded myself, that it's not just about me. It's about everybody else too, and it's a community. And I shouldn't try to gain attention or benefit from my community.
Right on. You took 2 years off. What was like kind of the moment that was like, I'm going to get back into it and I'm going to do it for this particular reason?
Even though I had like taken a step out of the community, like out of the scene for a little bit, I never really stopped like mixing. I had some equipment and like all my friends were still doing stuff, and I never really like fully stepped out of the scene. I just took a break out of the spotlight and took some time for myself. What kind of got me back into it was, I had still been playing like basement shows and just screwing around with my friends on the boards and everything. And I kept going to shows, and I just felt that longing urge that I wanted to be up there, and I wanted to be a part of the community again. And so I rebranded myself, started going back out to more shows, started actually like doing mixes again and like playing with more of my buddies and everything like that. And then the whole starting to like throw shows out of a basement and different warehouses started happening, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into this. I feel like I have a new outlook, and I feel like I was ready. And once I found my name, that's just kind of where it took off.
Right on. So let's kind of talk about the future here. You have a show in March.
Yep.
Is your next booking?
Yep, my booking is in March on St. Patty's Day.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
Because it hasn't been announced yet. So,
Okay.
But it will be on St. Patrick's Day, and then there's talk of more bookings within that time, but there's nothing set.
Okay, right on. So we'll definitely keep you updated on our Facebook page. How about Electric Forest? Are you attending this year?
I will be there this year, and I'll be working it again, but I will also be working on running secret sets in an undisclosed location until the time is proper. And then I will also be playing on the buses. Can't talk about which one yet,
Okay.
but I will be on one of the buses this summer.
Right on. Hell yeah. So that's definitely something to look forward to for you. And, once that information becomes available, we'll definitely be posting that as well. So, so what are some of your DJ horror stories?
The one that I can guarantee every single DJ is guilty of is when in the middle of your set, when you're playing, whether it's like beginning, middle, or end, it doesn't matter. When you're trying to cue up a song and you cue it to the deck that's already playing, and it cuts your stuff off, that's the absolute worst. And I can do that more times than I've done it more times than I can count on my hands.
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling ever. The other thing that has happened to me. So number one, I figured out don't drink too much before you play. It gets wild. You lose your balance. I've ran into my own shit and knocked shit around. The other thing that really could suck is being a DJ. I've had it happen, so I guess it's like, another kind of worst things happen story. Is malfunction between the deck and a computer. I've had it happen to where the deck wants to recognize that the computer has the proper drivers to run the board, and it cuts your music off, so you got to turn the board off, close your program, quick restart your program, and turn the board back on as quick as you can because you got dead air.
Right.
That's happened to me multiple times, and that's a pretty rough feeling.
I bet.
That's the worst, because your face just starts beating up with sweat, and you feel
yeah.
your face turn red, and it's like embarrassing, but you need to pay attention to what you're doing the whole time. Just do it as quick as you can, and then get back into it.
Yeah.
My first show coming back after, I believe it was Electric Forest. After Electric Forest, I played at a hookah lounge, and my board cut off 4 times during my set. I would just start getting the crowd going, and then it would just be like, shh, no sound at all. The board would say it's still playing, and the computer would say it's still playing, but there's no sound. And it's just,
And you have to figure it out.
yeah.
Right.
Like, as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Because you still have time to play.
Yeah.
And just cutting it off, that's not really how that works.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so you got to do it as quick as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get people to, like, laugh about it, not get upset.
Right.
You know, usually people are pretty good sports about it
Yeah.
and just, you know, give you shit.
Yeah.
So I do my best to give myself shit before they can, to make, you know, the crowd will, like, laugh a little bit more at ease.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't say I'll turn the volume down. There's no volume.
Yeah.
I'll take my headphones off and say, "Wow, Reptahr sucks," or something along the lines of that, you know. So, you know, you just got to kind of play it off.
Mm-hmm. So now that we touched on DJ fails, what was kind of like your pinnacle moment while up there on the decks?
I got two different stories about my favorite moments. I can't pick between the either two of them. One would definitely be Lost Lands, and then after I got off stage, I caught the last bit of Excision set, and ended up going to catch a little bit of the Wakan takeover at the other set, other stage, the second stage, and I ran into a whole group of people wearing Reptahr gear. They had a Reptahr totem and everything, and I had my Reptahr onesie on, and they're like, "We just watched you at the other stage." And that was super cool, and they all wanted to take pictures with me, and they were like, "It's so awesome to meet you." They ended up, like, getting all of my social media stuff, took pictures with them, sent them all the pictures that were taken on my phone. That was super cool. And then another really cool experience that kind of gets me is I was down in Atlanta, Georgia, working Grid Life Music Festival, and one of my buddies was playing the festival, Dan Kelly Dogma. He was playing down at Grid Life, and Mantis was one of the guys from Mantis was also there. I think it was Paul, but we all decided we were going to play in the Dome after hours and do, like, a big back-to-back-to-back.
Did more people show up to that?
It was pretty packed for a little bit until Paul from Mantis kept redlining, and we kept trying to turn him down, but he kept redlining, and then the manager of the Dome came pulling in, and he was like, "Turn it down, because I'm getting yelled at by the property owners." Who were on the complete opposite side of the whole entire track. And it was a huge track.
Yeah.
They were on the opposite side of the track, and they could hear it. Because he was redlining so hard, he had it cranked. All the gains cranked, the master cranked, and it just sounded bad. And we kept telling him to turn down, and he wouldn't turn it down. And by the time, like, the manager showed up, he was already mad because he got yelled at. So he turns it down. No more does he make it to the door of the Dome. Mantis goes, cranks it all back up. And he immediately turned around, and his face was past red, it was purple.
Yeah.
And he said, "Shut it off." So Paul from Mantis kind of got us shut down. I got some really funny video of I'm standing on stage, and I'm obviously fucked up. We've been partying all night. This is after we're at Grid Life, so it's a racing festival, you know. We were stealing golf carts. I was working for Grid Life. We were stealing golf carts down in the pit area. Me, Dogma, and a few of my buddies that were working there, and a couple other DJs stole some golf carts, and we're, like, doing wheelies with them where they're doing sparse stuff. We end up crashing a golf cart, losing our alcohol, find the alcohol, run away from the golf cart, then we go to the Domes. And me, Dogma, and Paul are all on stage, and I got a funny video of that where people are just starting to come into the Dome. But yeah, that Grid Life was an experience for sure.
Sounds like
especially with Dogma. He's always crazy.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
We had quite a few people there, but we ran out of alcohol on stage, and I had a whole half-gallon back at my camp, which was on the other side of the property through all the campgrounds. So Dan looks at me, and he was like, "You need to go get that half-gallon." And so I'm running through the campgrounds, and I was like, "Everybody go to the Dome. We're playing music there. There's after party. There's just so much going on back that way. Everybody needs to come out," because everyone was, like, looking for after parties, but they were all just standing around, not doing anything. Yeah. So I'm yelling to all the people as I run through in this. I get to my camp, I grab the alcohol, and I'm running back doing the same thing. And this group stops me and they're like, well, what's your name? And I was like, I'm Reptahr. One of the guys, the whole group was like, I've never heard of you. And one of the guys was like, I've heard of you. And I was like, we're down in Atlanta, Georgia. I was like, you haven't heard of me.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I've heard of you. And he named my 2 main mixes that I have on my SoundCloud.
That's fucking crazy.
And he hugged me at least 15 times to the point where I was like, all right, dude, I love all the love, but like this many hugs is enough. And he was like, I'll definitely be there. And he was like, keep making music, keep making mixes, keep doing what you're doing because you're killing it. He was like, I definitely have heard of you. And I was like, well, now I can't doubt you because you named my mixes without me telling you anything.
Right.
And that was really cool.
Fucking Georgia. Of all places.
Georgia, man. Like, that's down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never expected that someone that far away would have heard of me at that point in time.
Yeah.
And this was about 1.5 years ago. And I was like, that's cool.
That's fucking cool. Yeah. That definitely would, I feel like, would give you that motivation to be like, I'm doing good. Like, I'm doing something right. If people from Georgia fucking know who I am.
Yeah.
That's kind of that assurance that you're on the right path. So that's fucking dope.
It's been quite the journey, and it's been an absolute blast since I've started.
You got some exciting stuff on the horizon, and I feel like this is going to be a big year for you.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I feel like 2019 kind of just like snowballed with whether it be Lost Lands up to your birthday show, and then I feel like it's just going to continue on the rest of the year. So
it's been a trip.
Yeah, well, we wish you nothing but the best here in the near future, and probably have you on sometime to talk about more. So
I would love to.
Thank you so much for joining us. Reptahr, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Feel the motherfucking vibe. Motherfucking